Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting of council to order, so I'll call on Councillor Hanna.
Moved by Hannah, second by McConaughey, that the regular council meeting of the Township of Springwater of October the 5th, 2016 come to order at 6:32 p.m.
All those in favor? Carried. Please stand if you're able. You can remain seated if you're not able to stand for the national anthem and a moment of private reflection. And since Councillor Austin's not here, we're going to try some accompaniment, and away we go.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all that sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on God for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Has to remain standing for a moment for private reflection or private prayer. Please be seated. Does anyone on council have a disclosure of pecuniary interest in any matter that we'll be dealing with this evening? Seeing none, I have a presentation that I'd be quite happy to do, and I invite the two representatives from the Lville Food District Food Bank to come over here, and I'd like to present a check to you on behalf of the our kind of CAP program, and that's where the fundings come from, and we're quite happy to kind of make this donation of $2,500. Actually, I'm going to grab a microphone. I think there's one there. Just, I'd like John to maybe say just a few words and. Since the people at home can hear us, yes, I'd like John to say a few words about the Lville Food Bank because, again, sometimes in our small communities we don't think there's a particular need, and there's always a particular need. So with that, John, maybe just like to share some of the information.
Thank you, Mayor French, and we do very much appreciate the support you give to the food bank. You let us use the community hall, and your presentation today is invaluable. We serve Elmvale and district, so we serve Hillsdale, Craighurst, Wyvale, Wybridge, Waverley, and the concessions in between. And our monthly client count is between 50 and it has been up to 120 on occasion. At Christmas, we give out 60 hampers to 60 families, and we do try to be as close as we can to the Canada Food Guide, so we offer not only dry goods, but dairy, meat, fresh fruit and vegetables, and so your support goes a long way to help us do that. So I appreciate it very, very much.
Well, thank you. And I'll pass the check. I won't take that with me. Again, congratulations. Thank you for all the hard work that you do.
And
thank you.
For the support, sir.
Thanks. And I believe we have a deputation here from Mr. Paul Sadlin regarding traffic policing concerns on St. Vincent Street. So I'd invite come forward. Didn't see him. I didn't see him here. Just one of you was hiding and came in. Okay, well, if he shows up before we're finished our deputation, obviously we will invite him forward. But so we'll move on with the agenda for the moment. And so we'll move on to kind of previous minutes. Councillor Coghlan.
All right, so moved by Coghlan, second by McConkey, that the minutes of council items 6.2 and 6.3 are approved as presented.
Any comments or questions on those before we accept them? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. So moving on to minutes of boards and committees, and I'll go to Deputy Mayor Allen.
Moved by Allen, seconded by Ritchie, that the minutes of boards, committees, and other organizations, items 6.5 through 6.7 be received as information.
Anything on those reports or minutes that you'd like to comment on before I call for the resolution? Seeing none, those in favor? Carried. So we're to question period. Again, we have 10 minutes. We like questions on items that are on the agenda, but we'll take any question. So if you have a question, just come forward, state your name, address, and we will respond if we can. And if we can't, we will get back to you with the appropriate information. So I invite anybody to come forward and ask questions.
Kate Harris, 1186 Floss Road 10 East, Lville. Yes, can you tell us what has happened with regard to the population allocations and what the township is going to do?
I guess the short answer is we don't have any new information. There is a OMB meeting hearing on Friday. And that's when we'll be apprised of the information, because we have not received any more information than you've read and press releases from appropriate parties. So at this
You've
point...
had no communications between the township and Simcoe County?
I think we've asked questions, but we don't have answers that, I mean, we are referred to the OMB meeting on Friday, that things will be whatever they are. So no, right now, we don't have any more information than our response to the county's notification that they reached a deal with the Midhurst Landowners Group for the allocation of roughly 50% they're asking for. Sorry about that.
So one more question. Did you meet in camera today, and was there any resolution coming out of that meeting?
Today was a fact-finding mission. There was no resolutions that came out of that meeting today, because it's probably premature because of we don't know what's happening with the OMB.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to correspondence, and we'll table the resolution first, and then we'll come back to if anybody wants to kind of address any of them. Councillor Ritchie.
Moved by Ritchie, second by Allen, that the correspondence and information items 8.2 through to 8.6 be received as information.
Okay, is there any that anyone like to discuss tonight? Councillor Hanna.
Thank you, Mayor. 8.2, the municipal board decision regarding case number well, it says PL 11181, but it's the OP 38, the Midhurst Secondary Plan. I think it would be appropriate if staff would comment on those decisions, given the questions that was asked by Kate Harris early, and folks at home might appreciate an explanation just briefly as to what's going to take place with regard to those two items.
So can I turn to, well, yes, there's our Director of Planning. Director Spagno?
Thank you, Mayor French. Through you to Councillor Hanna. So the decisions that are provided under item 8.2 are the Ontario Municipal Board decisions, where the procedural orders and the I guess the hearing agenda has been outlined. However, based on some certain media releases that have been provided by the County of Simcoe, the procedures and whatnot that have been indicated within those decisions have somewhat changed. We are somewhat at the mercy of the Ontario Municipal Board to try to figure out or to try to see as to what the process will be. The board hearing is actually scheduled to take place on Friday, October 7th, and is to commence at 10:30 a.m. So really, it's a matter of attending the board hearing, and then we're going to have to see just how things unfold through that whole process, as it's somewhat up in the air.
Quite honestly, probably we would like to provide more information, but we don't have it. And it is very unfortunate that it is our municipality that it most affects, and we don't have a lot of information on it. And hopefully there'll be some light shed on it this Friday, so we can basically take whatever action we deem necessary with the will of council. Sorry, we're not trying to be evasive. We don't have information. We were not party to conversations, decision makings, and that at the county. Just to reiterate, Deputy Mayor Allen and I, because it was a judicial hearing in May, felt it was appropriate, because if you sit in a jury, you can't go in predisposed and not open to arguments. And we made it very clear early this year, through a resolution, that we do not support allocation. So we, through advice, kind of basically separated ourselves from that process, and even since everything's unfolded, we're still suggest that was very good advice, so there's no conflict to create other situations going forward. That's all I can tell you. Okay, any other comments on any of the other correspondence from anybody? Okay, seeing none, you've heard the resolution from Councillor Ritchie. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to action reports and Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. And maybe I could just ask either CEO Brindley or Director Schmidt, if you want to kind of give us some comments before we kind of pass a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through members of council. Simply what we're asking here tonight is the province, through their 2016 budget, has revised this Ontario Community Infrastructure Funding agreement. Today we receive approximately about $180,000 through this agreement. And now they're actually asking, or they've revised it, and we'll be looking to receive $340,000 in 2017, about $480,000 in 2018, and then it gradually increases from there. So simply we're looking to, in order to obtain the funds, the province is requiring us to execute an agreement with them. So that's simply what we're requesting council tonight, to execute the agreement as well as enact the bylaw.
Okay, any questions on this? I'm not going to go to you right away, Deputy Mayor Allen. One of the comments I had a chance to, I don't like reading every page of a long agreement, but I do like kind of reviewing it. And there are some conditions in that agreement. I'm not sure if it needs kind of dealt with, but the province is adding a lot more language, and basically, and I guess kind of reducing their risk in that. And one of the things that we do need to move forward with, because it's in the agreement, that the township will have a code of conduct. And so somehow before we get the money, we do have to have some sort of code of conduct, so we do need to kind of address and I guess get the information as we suggested last time from the employee code of conduct. Doesn't suggest what it has to be, it just suggests it could be a paragraph, but we don't have an official one, so we do have to put something in place. So it is imperative that we get something on the table before we kind of, I guess, send off, or we may have to do an addendum, say we are in the process of doing it, because it is part of the agreement. So I just wanted to mention that for what it's worth. So with that, Deputy Mayor Allen.
Moved by Allen, seconded by Ritchie, that the report from the Director of Finance regarding the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, OCIF, formula-based component agreement dated October 5, 2016 be received, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the attached agreement, and that a bylaw be enacted to authorize the execution of the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund formula-based component agreement.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And the next one is an action report, speed reduction on Floss Road 8 East. We had a deputation, we had good discussion, and we're reconsidered what we had done. And is there any other discussion needed on this item? Do I need to go to Director Archer just for a brief one paragraph summation? Director Archer.
Thank you, Mayor French. And upon passing this bylaw, the signs will be enforceable. We have started the placement of the signs.
Okay, with that, Councillor Coghlan.
Moved by Coghlan, second by McConkey, that the report from the Operations Coordinator regarding the speed reduction on Floss Road 8 East dated July 6, 2016 be reconsidered, that the speed on Floss Road 8 East from Baseline Road to 1,875 meters west of Baseline Road be reduced from 80 kilometers to 50 kilometers, and that the traffic bylaw be amended to reflect the new speed limit.
All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to information reports. Now, one thing that I did, and I forgot because we moved the results June 30th to this meeting from the last meeting. And the last meeting I declared a conflict, and I'll do it again, I should have done at the beginning, on basically the results, because there was some information in there about legal costs relative to compliance audit. So if there's any discussion on that, I will, excuse myself because I am the subject of the compliance audit, just so in case somebody wants to pull it out and discuss it. Does anybody want to pull any of these reports to discuss in more detail? Okay, seeing none, Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor French. Moved by Perry Ritchie, second by Don Allen, that the report items 10.2 through to 10.4 be received as information.
All those in favor? Carried. Move on with verbal reports. Official plan update. Director Spagnuolo. Keep hiding on me.
Thank you, Mayor French. The only update that I have to provide is that an official plan review meeting was held on September 29th to go over a draft communication strategy. Comments were received by the consultant M Limited, and a final draft is being prepared, which considers all of council's comments and will be available on the township website shortly. And we will be looking to schedule some visioning exercise workshops to commence in the month of November. Please watch for any information with respect to that, and we'll be working towards organizing those meetings.
Okay, any questions of Director Spagnuolo on the official plan update? Because there was a good meeting we had here on the communication strategy, and so it's kind of the first step moving forward. Okay, moving on, economic development update, CEO Brindley.
Thank you, Mayor French. The Economic Development Working Group
met and actually started to action the funding that we received from the county, so it's $50,000. So staff went line by line in terms of what council had approved. Where we spent most of the time was talking about marketing, the marketing strategy and the numbers. There's about a $9,000, a little over $9,000 allocation to looking at marketing. So we talked about marketing strategy, and we've resolved that we're actually going to bring in a gentleman who's associated also with Georgian College, who's actually going to talk about marketing strategies, so to help us, because we're going to have to put together an RFP, and this will be very helpful to the working group in how we start putting our mind together on how we're going to formulate that RFP. So we're going to try to get that speaker, that gentleman, to our next meeting, and that will give us the assistance on actually creating the request for proposal that we do for the next step for that marketing plan.
And I guess I just want to add on to that, because I'm part of the county's Economic Development Committee, subcommittee, and one of the things that we're doing is going to different areas of the county, visiting businesses, and we had two good visits last Monday. K2 Milling, a very small operation, 2.5-man operation in Beaton, that obviously is a mill that mills various types of flour, and kind of really a niche market. And the other one is Oticur, which makes a lot of automotive clamps, very large business that provides the automotive industry, plumbing industry, and so forth. And it's kind of interesting to see that there's some very healthy manufacturers around. Sometimes we have a tendency to dismiss them, but if they're doing it right, as a matter of fact, the Oticur plant, I thought it was mainly there, and I asked the question for Honda. It was there long before Honda was there. Yes, they sell a lot of parts in that too, but it actually goes into the plumbing, medical, and everything business. And as a matter of fact, the parts for Honda in Japan come from there, because they don't like the parts that come out of other areas of that area of Asia. They like the quality that's coming out of Canada. And the point they made is sometimes we always get caught up in the labor costs. They do not see labor as really a competitive disadvantage, because again, they have technologies in that. So manufacture is still possible here. Their biggest complaint, like everybody, is cost of hydro. The way, we all experience that at home. When you kind of look at your hydro bill, some of these new carrier and transportation costs and all these wonderful things they have on it, it's a very large plant, uses a lot of power. They said there's absolutely no incentive for them to reduce their power consumption in the large plant. And then when we go to K2 Milling, small operation, they've invested in a 280 kilowatt generator, diesel powered, and they're totally off grid. And their hydro costs, even with the total operation of fuel, the capitalization of that generator is 45% less than Ontario Hydro. So when we hear in the marketplace that hydro is a problem in manufacturing, it really is. I mean, we all complain about it at home. So we're kind of gathering information, and one of the things that I want to do, and we're trying to line up some in Springwaters, maybe in our next trip, in 2 or 3 months from now, we'll kind of visit some manufacturing facilities in our own township, and we have some good ones like Brampton Brick and Gluckler and stuff like that. So I just wanted to add to the economic update. County updates, we do have the minutes here. Is there any questions on it? Because I don't think is there any particular things that you can think of? There was nothing earth-shattering from the county. And so Deputy Mayor Allen.
Yes, thank you, through you to Mayor French. At the county, there were reports that came forward with respect to waste management that had recommendations that would alter collection, would alter size of containers. They were discussed, and it was decided that by the majority of county council that we needed to have a working session that got into the issues more fully, so before we could make some decisions on waste management changes to the strategy to try to increase diversion rates, specifically organics diversion. So that will be coming up, and following that there will be further reports and then some alterations to the waste management strategy.
Thank you. Okay, municipal updates. Anybody want to give us updates on individual things? Councillor McConkey.
The Grenfell Town Hall was last night. Staff did an excellent job in their presentation. They've cut it back. I think it was just enough to get everybody's whistle wet and know what's going on, but not too much to fall asleep on. And there was a lot of really good questions, and I've got a lot of issues that I've come back with, and it was really good to be out there with the community. So look forward to the future town halls too.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up on that. There was, I think it was kind of 33 individual residents came out to that, and we were competing with the Blue Jay game, and also, if you're interested, the vice president vice presidential debates. Councillor Ritchie.
Mayor French, just wanted to mention about the Springwater Sports Hall of Fame event last Friday night at the Barrie Golf and Country Club. Excellent event, a lot of just well put and well ran. Anyway, that was my first time going, but it was I was really glad to go. And this weekend is the Lville Fall Fair, starting on Friday with our parade, and then the parade on Saturday. It is probably one of the best rural fairs in all of Ontario. So come on up and watch the pies judged and the cattle judged, and you're going to see council riding on the wagon on Saturday. So maybe even Jack will be there. So look forward to seeing you. Come on up.
Thank you. Councillor Hanna.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. I would be happy to be there, but I think I have a family Thanksgiving day that day, but if I can get away, I would be happy to join you on the wagon. And while I have the mic, if I may, Autumn Fest took place. Some of the members of council were there. Deputy Mayor and the Mayor tried their hand at cooking, but the good thing is Autumn Fest raised, I believe, in excess of $5,000 towards a pavilion. Somebody shaking their head, no, it might have been less, but that was kind of the information I got, towards the pavilion for Midhurst. So it was a great day, and thank you.
Any other comments? Councillor Coghlan?
Anthem Mills has their annual pumpkin carving coming up at the end of the month on the 23rd, and this year we have added to it. We are going to have a catapult competition. So we're encouraging families to challenge the Coghlan family. We are going to build a catapult, and we are going to toss pumpkins and see if we can hit scarecrows. So something to get the maybe a little bit older kids out, and we're still going to have our regular pumpkin carving. So if anybody at this table would like to build a catapult, you're more than welcome to come on out. It's a catapult. You put a pumpkin on it and it slingshots it.
Oh, I've never seen one.
Well, come out then.
Are cannons allowed? Okay, I just want to pick up on what Councillor Ritchie said. The Sports Heritage dinner was really well done. And as a matter of fact, just so you know, I'm having a meeting with some of them next week because it is Springwater. The awards were very Elmville-centric, and I want to see if there's something we can do because we're definitely supporters of it as a council. How can we broaden this? Because we know there was great sports in Grenfell and Minising, and so how can we make it all that much more encompassing? But it was really well done. And special congratulations to the organizing committee and also to the sponsors because they have some key sponsors, much like we do with our kind of golf tournament, and it was very, very well done and a very good meal, and everybody had a great time. Councillor Coghlan.
I'd just like to follow up onto that. The Sports Heritage, as a member representative on that, Elmville-centric. The nominations come from the entire community. So I think that the strategy would be to make sure that people know the sports heritage is there, and we can help support the sports heritage to get that communication out there. Again, it is a nomination process. So they would be nominated from all areas of the municipality. So if we could help them get the word out so that people nominate people from their own communities, that would be great.
I just want to ask a question because that's probably why I don't understand the process. But so would the sports heritage then have to better communicate how we nominate, or do we need something in future consideration for our staff to sort of help? Because again, I have Matt Bolesky living in my ward, and I wouldn't mind nominating him. So, but I didn't know how or when the process takes place, know nothing about it.
No, as a matter of fact, because, you know, I'm aware that it happened, but I almost had the feeling it kind of ran parallel universe, and it was a very good event. And so that's why, you know, we're having a meeting next week to kind of say, well, how can we communicate this better? How can we involve? Because I was asking about, well, how do they get nominated? And my understanding is, and maybe I didn't read it or notice it, there are notices in the Springwater News, but we need, no, I know you're looking the same way as I did. So I think, you know, we need to really push it out because we participate. We have a lot of staff involved with it that help out, and I think it is something very, very important. So, you know, I'm hoping the outcome of that meeting is that maybe we can come back here with council, some ideas, and have a more formal approach to assisting them. I don't want to interfere with the operation of it because they do a great job and there's a great bunch of volunteers on the board and that. But I definitely would like to see us more involved, and so we'll see where that goes. Any other municipal updates? If not, I believe we have a notice of motion.
Based on the presence of the public last week on the sale of the parks, I read from the public that it's very important for them not to have that process drag on, that they'd rather know what the feed of their property is sooner than later. So this is my motion, is that the item on the Recreation Master Plan concerning the sale of parkland become a priority to review, that staff provide council with a report that outlines all parkland in each ward and identify those that may be considered as potential sale, and that council determine the sale and/or protection of parkland once a report is provided.
Okay, and there won't be discussion on it because it is a notice of motion. Does the notice require a seconder? No. So we don't require. So anyway, for those that were interested in the park, please come to the next council meeting because this resolution will be tabled, debated, and hopefully we have the information to deal with it. Councilor Ritchie? No, it's a notice. We don't get to vote on it. Okay, items for future consideration. Is there things that we should be doing that we haven't thought of that we want to add to the workload of our staff? Because they love it, because they told me they don't have enough to do. Councilor McConkey.
It shouldn't add to their workload, but I know usually staff is pretty good when the Christmas tree goes up about contributing with the food bank. But I think that maybe if we could also be very strong contributors and really push that once our Christmas tree is up, that we allow our public to bring in food items and that we help support the food bank in our administration office here. If we could do something like that, I don't mind volunteering if I have to drive or do whatever.
Good, thank you. Okay, CEO Brindley.
Mayor French, actually, I don't think we need to put it on a item for future consideration. What we do is we will ask staff put collection boxes out. We'll get the word out through social media, as well as, you know, and make a collection available. And just to keep in mind from a staff perspective, just, you know, we actually adopt several families a year, and we actually collect throughout the year off our paycheck, actually. And what we do every year is we adopt a couple Springwater families who don't have the advantages that we have. They're going through some tough spells. So that's what we do as a staff every year, is we actually adopt a couple families.
Thank you. So any other comments or items? Okay, moving on now. Before I start adopting the bylaws, because it's all encompassing, I think it's very appropriate, and I'd asked Ian Gavay come forward. And this is our new fire chief, hopefully not firebug, but fire chief. And there's a microphone there. Ian, maybe you'd just like to say a few words, a little of your background so people know who we've hired to kind of take on our emergency and fire services.
Thank you, Your Worship. My name's Ian Gavay, as the Mayor already mentioned. I've basically worked through different parts of Canada and overseas, British born. Very pleased to be in the township of Springwater. Came into town when there was a fire actually going on. Was pleased to attend CFB Borden, where our firefighters were training to provide better service to the public and to keep themselves safer. And I must say, this township has really challenged my perception of the friendliest place in Canada. I did think it was Newfoundland, but everybody I have met have been very welcoming, and I'm really pleased to have been appointed the fire chief, and look forward to working to ensure the safety of the community.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to you bringing us updates. Okay, with that, Councillor McConkey.
Moved by McConkey, second by Councillor Hannah, that the bylaws listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk.
Yeah, just so you know, because one of the mandatory positions of a municipality is a chief, and so he's actually appointed by bylaw. There's only certain functions in the municipality that are required, and he is one of them. So we have to take care of your well-being. And so it's one of the, if you're reading the agenda up there, you'll see that as one of the bylaws. So all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Councillor Hannah.
Moved by Hannah, second by McConkey, that the bylaw 2016-054 to confirm and adopt the proceedings of council at the regular meeting held on October the 5th, 2016, listed herein be signed, sealed, and by the mayor and the clerk.
All those in favor? Carried. Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor French. Moved by Perry Ritchie, second by Donnell, that the regular meeting of the Township of Springwater does now adjourn at 7:08 p.m. to meet again in regular meeting on October the 19th at 6:30 p.m. in the Council Chambers, Administration Center, Minnesota.
All those in favor? Carried. Well, thank you all for coming. I know it was a short meeting. We didn't have a lot of discussion items, but please tune in the next time or come out and join us in the gallery. So thank you all, and good night.